Leonard Hamilton, two-way guard. He can score at all three levels. He can defend multiple positions and create some offense from his D.
Georgia Tech last started 2-0 in conference play back in the 05-06 season. Referees tonight, Bert Smith, John Gaffney, and Matt Potter. Debbie told you about the two freshmen in the starting lineup. There is a third today, and Ibrahima Sacco. So Damon Stoudemire going with the youth movement as conference play begins. He was very blunt with us. He said, frankly, I'm going to play the guys who give us the best chance to win.
So when you're playing Florida State, you have to have your pressure package in. Ball fakes, backdoor cuts, high post entries, because they're going to go after everything up the line one pass away.
Shot clock down to 3. Here's Miles Kelly, Georgia Tech's leading scorer. Had to force that one. He has been in a shooting slump. Here come the Noles. Watkins, their leading scorer, the baseline drive, the drop off. Green, no good. And a battle for the rebound down low. Oh, we get a whistle.
Georgia Tech is an outstanding offensive rebounding team. Manish, 14 a game, leads the ACC, but they're at the bottom of the league in field goal percentage and three-point percentage. So they're going to have to be able to get points in the paint, get to the free throw line, and make things challenging for Florida State with their ball reversal.
A lot of Georgia Tech's offense comes off of those missed shots, getting to the free throw line, putbacks.
Florida State will go 10, 11 deep. They will bring incredible effort. The one thing you always know out of Leonard Hamilton's team is they're going to play hard. Now, will they play connected? That's what they're searching for in their rotations.
Worley to the rim, and the rebound down go, and we get a quick foul down low. It's going to be against Florida State. And Deontay Green. Starting lineup, sorry, Debbie, for Georgia Tech. We mentioned George and Dongo, the two freshmen. Sacco's the third freshman. Reeves, the Florida transfer, and they got to get Miles Kelly going.
Yeah, Miles Kelly in the last 4 games is 2 for 25 from the three-point line. And when you look at the shot selection, it's not poor. He just has got to start making some. He might have to do some other things to get his engine going early.
George sends it inside. It's knocked away by Green. And already we saw how Florida State likes to switch off those ball screens. Doesn't matter what position the defender's playing.
You really have to have a high defensive IQ to play for Leonard Hamilton, because you have to understand personnel, because they are going to switch 1 through 5. And Baba Miller, number 11 in white, he is their big guy on this matchup with Georgia Tech. He has a chance to have a big game tonight.
Now, they have been waiting for Baba Miller to explode, as you see. A resume that speaks in the imperative belonging to Leonard Hamilton. Kelly spots up and hits. And Georgia Tech hoping that can unlock their leading scorer.
Well, if anyone needed to hit the first 3 and see a big basket, that would be Miles Kelly, based on what we gave you from a number standpoint.
He had 21 when these two played in the ACC tournament last year. Georgia Tech won that game on free throws in the waning seconds. Miller's first shot, no good. Dongo another rebound. He played well at Diamond Head last 2 games in Hawaii, averaged a double-double. Entry pass, Sacco nearly had it stolen away. Worley got his hands on it, and it'll be a held ball, possession arrow to Georgia Tech.
Watch Miles Kelly step into it. Gets his feet under his shoulders. There's nothing wrong with his technique. He's got a beautiful looking jump shot. He's just got to be a confident shooter.
It goes to Florida State. David Stoudemire, when we asked him about Miles Kelly's shooting slump, he had a very NBA-like approach. He goes, listen, I'm not going to overcoach him. I'm not going to tell him too many things. He plays a lot of minutes. He'll figure it out. And there was almost a calm and confidence and a trust that you saw from Stoudemire with this young player.
I think when you are a shooter and you can self-correct and you have muscle memory and you're taking shots in the system, and in the system it requires space and read and react. It's not a lot of plays. And you know you're going to find your way. if you just stick with it and you put the time in. And Miles Kelly does those things.
Here comes Worley, the drive and kick. Now it's Watkins. Splits the double, blocked by Dongo. Reeves the other way. Florida State milling in retreat. And Reeves blocked at the rim. The follow by George rims out. And we get a foul underneath against Georgia Tech.
I mean, you talk about long, athletic, and quick off your feet. Watch Dongo right here. Incredible recovery after he gets beat off the bounce. Doesn't give up on the play.
Dongo, the freshman, already a 3-time ACC Rookie of the Week.
He's been impressive, right? He's impressive in practice. He was locked in today, but he had a really good workout.
Worley's first 3-point attempt of the season goes. He had largely shelved that shot this year.
And a made basket brings the full court pressure, and it's man-to-man defense.
That was the first field goal for Florida State. The runner by Kelly did not go. Watkins the rebound. Miller calling for it. Watkins to the rim. Offensive foul.
I mean, we see Dongo on the backside of D, block a shot. Now he draws a charge in transition. This is a terrific job by Dongo, not to try to block the shot, but to understand the difference between the timing of whether he has a chance to block it or draw a charge and make that kind of defensive play.
He had the big block at the end of the win against Duke. Georgia Tech's lone ACC win, its lone ACC game. A signature win for Damon Stoudemire. That came against Duke. Florida State, in its only ACC game, blew a 14-point second-half lead to North Carolina. Yellow Jackets almost turned it over, and now they do. Sacco stepped out of bounds. For Florida State, this is Game 5 on a 7-game homestand. The last 3 games of this homestand, all league games, and Leonard Hamilton was honest with us. They're still figuring out the best permutations, the best lineups. It's a team coming off an embarrassing loss Saturday to Lipscomb.
I mean, they were down 21, and they did make it a one-possession game. They did have opportunities at the end. But this man right here wasn't the guy taking shots late in the game. And Darin Green's the guy, to me, right now, with where they are and based on what you said, he's the guy that should have the ball in his hands late.
One of the best 3-point shooters in the ACC. George puts it on the floor. Tough shot, and the rebound snagged by Worley. It'll be Georgia Tech ball as we get a whistle on the baseline. Darin Green can heat up. He gets his first 3 of the game, 39% on the season.
With no fees or minimums and no...
He's got the type of credentials that resonate and relate to anybody playing for him and certainly anybody he's recruiting.
I think it's a home run for Georgia Tech. And there's a great story in Slam Magazine about how he got into coaching. He was working out at Rice. Chris Del Conte, now the AD at Texas, was the AD at Rice. He had just hired Ben Braun. He said, Damon, you look like you could be a coach one day. Damon said he never thought of it, but he started shadowing Ben Braun, went to recruiting meetings. Then next thing you know, he's traveling on the road. He's doing some scouting reports, and then he just fell in love with it. And he said, I operate on feel. I'm a player's coach, and that's the way I played, and that's the way I want to coach my guys.
Here is Taylor Bowen. He's been a spark plug off the bench for Florida State. Shot clock at 3. They got to put it up, down to 1. I don't think he beat it. It does not count. They can look at it, but it looked like it was after the horn. Well, what you said about Damon Stoudemire, he told us there are certain principles, philosophies that he has taken from the NBA that he plans to apply to the college game. One of those was how he uses that 5th starter and almost a revolving door based on matchups, not married to a certain lineup, but being fluid in your rotations.
You know, I heard Damon speak at a clinic in August. Larry Shia, Coach Shia runs a clinic down there at the University of Florida, and there were a couple of takeaways for me in listening to him. One was he values screening. Okay, he thinks that's really important. He wants to push to get the ball reversal. No walking the ball up the floor. Space is really important, and they love to play through the short roll because the game is so fast now. The schemes defensively, he thinks that affects the space on the floor, and he says his guys are really starting to get better at making decisions out of the short roll.
That was something that he was great at as a point guard. Bull Bowen's three is not there now, 1 for 10 on the season from deep. Debo Coleman into the game for Georgia Tech. Reeves, Georgia Tech's best three-point shooter, no good, and the Yellow Jackets have missed their last 6. Tyjon Claude picking up the foul, transfer from Western Carolina, where he led the SoCon in rebounding last year.
Coach Hamilton getting a lot of guys in and out early. That's that deep rotation that he's still trying to figure out. One thing we do know is this right here, Darin Green can shoot the ball well.
And Bull Bowen there on cleanup duty, and into the game for Florida State, Cam Corrin, second game back for him after missing time with a toe injury. He gives them a physical presence down low. We've seen Deontay Green now for about a month or so playing out of position at the 5.
Yeah, I think at 6'10", you got to have a guy that's active and athletic, and the way they defend, because they switch on everything. Cam Corrin can guard on the perimeter.
Chandler Jackson over to Primo Spears. Spears, the transfer from Georgetown and DePaul. He is capable of doing that. He can get his own shot as well as anybody. I think you want to see him be more of a facilitator, get his teammates involved more.
You do, and that decision I think was outstanding because you push in transition, you create a mismatch right away, and Gapare was on him, and he has a tough time guarding him off the bounce. A lot of bigs will have tough time guarding Spears off the bounce.
Down low, there is Claude using that big frame of his. 6'7", 230, Goldsboro, North Carolina. Spears again, coming off his best game as a Knoll in that loss to Lipscomb. Jackson knocks it down, the sophomore from Memphis.
I mean, you set that screen and you take that defender out. That is a 15-foot jump shot that you should make probably 75% of the time, Anish. I like the analytics on that.
Better odds than Lloyd Christmas. There is Kowacie Reeves. Now Debo Coleman knocks it down from 15.
Elbow jumper, back to back. Most teams like to run their offense through the middle third. You drill that every day so that you get those shots and you get comfortable shooting those shots with multiple reps.
Jackson going to work on Coleman. Spin cycle. Back iron, rebound, Debo Coleman.
Look at Primo Spears D'ing up.
Reeves too strong from the baseline. Spears had the rebound and then gets tripped by Claude, and that's 2 fouls on Claude.
Florida State with a 5-point lead inside 12 in the first half here in Tallahassee. Primo Spears off the mismatch and transition to the mid-range. And then the finish inside by Claude. We got a good one.
Play has arrived. It's the new year, and Saturday on ACCN, we have the first basketball triple header of the year on this network. Virginia, NC State starts us off. Virginia Tech coming here to take on Florida State, and then Duke, Notre Dame at 6 Eastern. All that Saturday on ACCN.
I enjoy football, I'll admit, but man, nothing beats conference play. Now we're rolling, right?
It almost feels like now the season has started. A lot of dribbling by Spears, almost turned it over. Jackson back out to Primo. Launches the three. Off the top of the backboard, knocked around. New 20, Baba Miller, the offensive board, and he turns it over. Here comes Kyle Sturdivant. Began his career at USC, now in his 4th season at Georgia Tech. He started for almost 2 seasons. He and Coleman give you a lot of experience off that bench.
And Coleman, I like, he is a combo guard who can really shoot it, has some range. They both have ACC experience, which you need.
Jackson thought about the long three.
It's not a bad strategy to start the point guard first, right? And then you come with your veteran guys.
Jackson the three. Short, rebound Kelly, averaging 6 rebounds a game this year. Sturdivant, nice move. That's the savvy veteran. The putback not there by Dongo. Everything but the finish for Sturdivant. Jackson, another open three. This time he hits.
Florida State doing a nice job early, knocking down 3 triples in the first 10 minutes of the game.
And that's the ball movement that has lacked for FSU this year.
That's how they have built their success. Multiple switching man-to-man defense and ball movement, turning down a good shot for a better one. And Spears gets that matchup again in transition with a big on him because he pushes in transition and he creates that matchup, and then it flattens the defense when you drive baseline, opens up the top of the floor. It's simple spacing, but you got to play hard, you got to cut hard, you got to work hard.
You look at Florida State, in their wins, they assist on more than half their baskets. In their losses, 42%. Last couple of games that they've lost, their assist rate is below 30%. And we get a foul on the floor in the corner. It's going to be on Miller.
When you have a bunch of new guys that are trying to figure it out, and even as you mentioned earlier, Coach Ham told us, trying to figure out rotations, like who plays well together. It's a puzzle. You know, he'll figure it out. He will, because he always does.
How much of that is a symptom of just the era of college basketball with the transfer portal? Guys want to go to a place where they feel they can get theirs.
I think you want to go somewhere where you can get better. Exactly. And there's a lot of ways that you can impact the game that don't have anything to do with scoring. You know, one of the things that Damon Stoudemire will be evaluating bigs is on their first 3 steps. You know, are they staying connected on screens defensively? You know, do they go to the glass? How hard do you cut? Those things matter. All those things are being evaluated, not just your ability to score.
A refrain that we've heard from coaches, so much development gets lost when you do transfer multiple times. I'm not playing here, I'll go somewhere else. You're not playing there, you go somewhere else. Well, now you're on your 3rd school and you haven't gotten a whole lot better.
Right. And those that stick and stay, look at Debo Coleman and Kyle Sturdivant. They're perfect examples for Georgia Tech right now.
Watkins forced that good defense by Kelly. Sturdivant pushing the break. Kelly's the trailer. Catch and release. In and out. Tipped around. And it comes to Spears. Georgia Tech getting back. Spears the runner. Too strong. And we'll get a foul on Florida State.
Primo Spears gives them another set of jets off the bench, right? Quickness, understands defense, can guard bigs, but he's got to learn change of pace on the offensive end. He will.
Jamir Watkins, meanwhile, picked up his 2nd foul. That's Florida State's leading scorer. And they're going to get Darin Green with foul number 2.
Size on the floor would favor Florida State with this lineup.
Usually does, right?
Yes. They got to take advantage of it.
And they go big with Baba Miller, guarding the inbounds. Jalen Gainey, former Ivy League Defensive Player of the Year. Brown in there as well. Kelly had it poked away, recovers. Nate George, the freshman. Reeves from the corner. Not there. Georgia Tech 3 for 16 now from the field.
I love how Baba Miller rebounds and gets them in their transition game quickly.
Spears forces it up. Offensive rebound, Gainey. Now the 6'11 Spaniard. Miller to the basket and the throwdown. Plus the foul.
I think this could be Baba Miller's night. He's got the length, he's got the size advantage. This was an incredible possession for him. From the rebound on one end to the rim on the other. 10-point Florida State lead, under 8 to play in the first.
Auto owners, insures your car. Because sometimes
Florida State with a 10-point lead. Baba Miller at the line for a three-point play. A native of Mallorca, an island off the coast of Spain. It's where Rafael Nadal, the great tennis player, is from. And all we heard last year when Florida State got off to that dreadful start, they were 1-9. They struggled early on. Hey, just wait until Baba Miller gets here. This guy came to Tallahassee from Spain with so much hype, so much hoopla. He's now a sophomore, and we're still waiting.
And I think it's definitely worth the wait because I think it's there. You know, his decision to play with his national team affected his ability to be in the weight room and to stay here in Tallahassee. I think a summer here underneath the player development of Coach Hamilton will definitely help him. And then offensively, I mean, he's definitely equipped defensively. Offensively, I think he has a skill set that we haven't seen yet. And I think part of that is his teammates need to help bring that out of him.
Yeah, Leonard Hamilton told me that about a week or so ago. He said, once we start playing team basketball, you're going to see Baba Miller bear the fruits of that. He's long, he's athletic, he can defend, he can pass. As we get a whistle, Florida State turns it over. They stepped out of bounds. And you know, part of that you wonder, is he shying away from some contact? The free throw numbers, right. He missed a free throw there, 12 of 29, below 40% in his Florida State career at the stripe.
I don't think I could sleep at night if I was shooting 40%.
I know, 40% in free throws. It's not even the same sport. George launches.
See, I don't like that decision. You're shooting 19% from the floor. You got no rebounders. You're the best offensive rebounding team in the league. Run your offense and get to your spots and then crash the glass.
Miller, great feed for Gainey, who draws the foul down low.
I mean, from our seat, Baba Miller just towers over everyone else on the floor. This is a great pass inside to Gainey. I think Gainey's still getting his footing, having not played a lot of basketball in the last couple of years.
And it was a shooting foul on Ibrahima Sakho, the freshman. All right, Sunday, big day of women's college basketball on ACCN. Debbie, number 13, Virginia Tech. Number 3, NC State. Where will you be watching this game from?
Oh, I'll be watching it, that's for sure. What a great matchup and rivalry that has become in the ACC. And the league is loaded. It is top to bottom the best league this year. It has the most ranked teams. North Carolina recently fell out of the poll. But NC State has gone from unranked to number 3, picked preseason number 8 on the women's side in the ACC. So Wes Moore, once again, has an incredible lineup of players that are really connected and playing well together.
Reeves, the baseline drive, and the finish with the foul.
That's how you improve your shot selection and your field goal percentage right here. Put an exclamation point on it. Reeves with a great take. He's not made a three. He does a great job of getting to the rim in transition.
Second foul on Baba Miller, who heads to the bench. So Watkins, Green, and Miller all have 2 fouls, and Reeves hits the free throw, 85% on the season. Tom House passing on the 3.
Tom House is an excellent three-point shooter.
Worley dropping it off for Gainey. Regains control, swatted away, but they'll count the basket.
Gainey with that knee brace, still with a little bit of a limp. Lost probably some elevation, still trying to figure out his vertical. Good call by the official.
He was a 2-time Defensive Player of the Year in the Ivy at Brown. Kelly lost the handle. Numbers for Florida State. House to Worley. House gets the offensive rebound. Here's Bull Bowen, met by Coleman.
Good hustle by Tom House. That was from deep.
George accelerates the other way. Coleman lines it up. Too strong, battle for the board, and right now, Florida State's not giving up many offensive rebounds to Georgia Tech.
Oh, they've done a good job. Even when they're switching man-to-man, they're making sure they get a body on somebody.
House, the contested 3.
Tom House has made 8 triples and 1 2-point basket this season, so you got to know the scout on that young man.
Largest lead of the game for Florida State. George contested, and he hits. You can tell they like this freshman. They think he's going to be a good one at a program that's got a history of producing not good, but great point guards.
Yes. Being coached by a great point guard.
Dongo comes out to meet Green. Worley driving on George. Too much. Extra pass. Reeves lines up the 3. Offensive rebound. George comes to Dongo. Good ball movement. Kelly passed on the shot. Bull Bowen with the recovery. Coleman now. And the putback for Dongo. +1.
5 offensive rebounds, for Georgia Tech, the best offensive rebounding team in the ACC. Coleman and Dongo with the follow. That's why you move the ball, and you should get teams rotating, get them a half pass late, and then you have a lane to the rim to offensive rebound.
Now, we were just saying how Florida State had done a nice job on the defensive glass, and Georgia Tech had a couple of extra opportunities on that possession. And Dongo completes the 3-point play. His last 4 games, Debbie, he is 28 of 33 from the field.
Impressive.
The lob for Cam Boren. Jackson picking up Sturdivant. Dongo gets it down low. A big size advantage on Green. Skip pass to Reeves. Looking for help. Tipped away by Jackson. Shot clock at 2. Down to Wong. Sturdivant, the prayer.
That was online.
Spears over to Green.
That better pass to Darin Green, and that shot's going up.
Extra pass. It comes to Spears, who left it way short, but Leonard Hamilton will take that kind of ball movement.
He'll definitely take that ball movement. He'll love the push up the floor. And he'll like this one too. Cam Corin with the stuff.
You ready?
For a Leonard Hamilton coach team, they're going to be deep and they're going to be tall.
Look at the size right here. And these guys switch 1 through 5 and guard on the perimeter. That's incredible length. The other constant is they play hard. You know, that is a given. You know, you've won 5th all-time career ACC wins, 410. Hall of Fame resume for Leonard Hamilton. Incredible ambassador and gentleman for the game with a great story for how many young men he's helped become better people.
Pioneer in so many ways, and now with both Jim Boeheim and Mike Bray no longer at Syracuse and Notre Dame respectively, Leonard Hamilton is the longest tenured head coach currently in the ACC. George is fouled. I think of the coaching changes these last few years with Boeheim, Bray, Roy Williams, Mike Krzyzewski, go back further, Rick Pitino. How the old guard in the ACC has changed. It's now Leonard Hamilton and Jim Larrañaga and Tony Bennett. Brad Brownell is part of that now.
What an incredible job, Clemson. How about that game tonight later on? Tips off at 8 o'clock. Clemson playing at Miami.
Yeah, the pieces seem to fit real well. They struck gold with Joe Girard in the transfer portal.
I always have felt Brad Brownell's on heroin, and I think people say that so much that he's got to be sick of hearing it. I mean, they have been successful. They have won. B.J. Hall is a potential Player of the Year candidate. He's a leading candidate for that, along with, I would say, R.J. Davis right now in North Carolina.
3 fouls on Claude. Jackson, he's given his team a nice spark off the bench.
This is a high motor team, right? You have to bring energy, high hands on the catch. You've got to be locked in. You've got to communicate, all switch. You got to be able to guard inside. You got to be a guard on the perimeter. You got to bring it when you play for Leonard Hamilton.
Reeves against Green, terrific defense. Reeves able to get it back. Kelly spins it to George. Over Corin. And a foul on the battle for the board. Primo Spears picks up his first foul.
I think the switching man-to-man defense and the disruptability of Florida State's D has caused some havoc a little bit for Georgia Tech. Damon Stoudemire told us today he's not a guy that runs a lot of plays. They like to operate in space, a read and react sort of offense. He's got enough guards that can make plays off the bounce, but I think they've been bothered by that length that we were speaking of.
Young team too. Remember, 2 freshmen have been starting the last several games. They started 3 freshmen tonight with Sacco making his first career start. Here's Spears with the pull-up, left it short.
We asked Leonard Hamilton about Primo Spears and some of the shot selection. He said every team he's been on, he's been the leading scorer. He's got to learn. He can do other things to help us.
A lot of dribbling. From the corner, the 3 no good by Tafara Gapari, the UMass transfer.
Miles Kelly has been kind of quiet here in this one. He did hit his first shot attempt. He's been patient.
Has not forced it today. Korn nearly stole it away. Gapari splits the D down the lane through the Tallahassee traffic.
shooters in the corner, can't pinch down the lane line. Nice finish.
He had a 20-point game the last month against Penn State. Bol Bol, the runner. I think he's got a chance to be good. He's raw, he is athletic, tons of potential.
He was one of the first names Coach Hamilton brought up to us today at shoot-around.
Somebody who could emerge here in conference play. He's been seeing double-digit minutes of late. Final 40 seconds, first half. Bol Bowen guarding Dongo. Kicked away. Corin the steal. About a 2-second differential between game clock and the shot clock.
I'm looking for Darin Green, number 22 right here. We go 1-4 low and flatten it up. Expect a flat ball screen coming out, sprinting out here. Here it comes.
Shot clock down to 5. Here comes Spears. Against Kapari. Spears down the lane. Tough runner. The tip in by Corin goes as the first half expires. Guard. Now Watkins, Florida State's top scorer. Comes out to Baba Miller. Offensive rebound. Worley the putback. And a rebound by Dongo. What is the path back for Georgia Tech besides the obvious they've got to make more shots?
Well, I think ball movement's the key, right? And recognizing mismatches. I thought in their Nevada game, late in the game, they didn't do a very good job of doing that. I think that's an adjustment here in the second half for Damon Stoudemire's team.
In the first half, 8 for 30 from the field and 1 of 14 from downtown. It's not a good shooting team to begin with. One of the few games they really did shoot it well from the field was that win against Duke, but they rely on hustle points. They rely on crashing the offensive glass and creating more opportunities. And that's allowed them to get out to an 8-4 start.
The other thing, too, is get to the free throw line when you're struggling to score. Put some pressure on that back row, and that's a great take off the bounce by Reeves, who's been able to attack the baseline a couple of times tonight.
He's got 5, 2 of 8 from the field. He and Miles Kelly, the only Yellow Jackets with multiple field goals. Worley hit his first 3 of the season today. It was his first 3-point attempt as well. Green on the baseline drive, kicks it out to Miller. Shot clock down to 3. Worley turbines inside, blocked away by Reeves. Dongo's the trailer. Lob inside. Dongo through a triple team. Fouled.
Reeves does a good job of using the rim to shield the D and the shot blocker, finishing on the other side. You can sense a little bit of urgency by Georgia Tech out of the locker room, right? They've upped their cadence on the offensive end, getting to the free throw line. Really important for them here to dig back in.
Meanwhile, Jamir Watkins picked up his 3rd foul.
Watkins without a bucket in the game, the leading scorer for Florida State. So that's, again, another point towards their bench play.
And the Seminoles have been able to weather that. Dongo, 70% free throw shooter coming into the game, gets 1 out of 2. He originally committed to Rutgers, was recruited there by Carl Hobbs, one of Damon Stoudemire's assistants now. And when Hobbs joined Stoudemire's staff, he was able to convince Dongo to say no to Piscataway and come to Atlanta. Green with a smooth jumper, the sophomore out of Asheville, North Carolina. Green went for the intercept.
Disrupted, making it hard to get the ball in bounds, taking you out of your rhythm.
Kelly amidst the trees, and you can tell just the size, the length, the arms. Your vision gets blurred up against this Florida State defense.
It's not just turning you over as Green knocks down the face-up jumper. It is beating you up to a point where you're uncomfortable.
Jackson had 7 points in the first half to lead Florida State. Now we get a foul away from the ball. It's on Sacco, his second.
Take a look at this one. The other thing they might be looking at is to make sure that the basket wouldn't score by Darin Green in the act of shooting and simultaneously having the foul off the ball. So there's a couple of things I believe the officials are taking a look at. That's the shot by Darin Green, but off the ball, you see right here the tie-up.
Does the foul happen before the shot?
That's what I think they're looking at.
I thought I heard the whistle before the shot.
You know, you see it, then you blow the whistle. So there is that delay, and that does matter. And I think the officials do a good job of coming together here. They're going to explain it. I think that basket by Darin Green, based on their conversation, that might count. Then you want to make sure you have the right. Well, it's not a shooting foul on the foul.
We'll get the explanation from Matt Potter. Now, so you're right, Debbie. The basket does count.
I think that's a good piece of officiating right there to come together and get it right.
And again, you pick that up where Green is in the act of shooting.
That's right. This could be a 5-point play.
Josh Nickelberry, 20 and white, into the game for the Noles. Leonard Hamilton has used 12 players. Jackson has 9, one off a career high, gets the steal. This might turn into a longer possession. Nickelberry down the lane, and he's fouled.
I saw a fist bump out of Leonard Hamilton over there on the sideline. Jackson with a tough 2 right here. And look at the bench. Guys are locked in. That's the green team down there. And if you've ever been to a Leonard Hamilton scout or practice, those guys bring it every day.
They were giving the starters and the second team a run for their money this afternoon.
They always do. Isaac Spainhour right there. He's the veteran guy on that green team now.
A redshirt junior. So you start with the green basket, then the foul, then the basket by Jackson, the steal. That turns into, 5 points on that trip down the floor for Florida State. Seven-0 run by the Noles. Dongo whips it off the hands of Kowacie Reeves.
A -3.5 turnover margin for Georgia Tech, but they usually make up for it on the glass.
Florida State +3 on the glass so far. The Seminoles have one more offensive rebound. Georgia Tech, the best offensive rebounding team in the league. Worley, the runner. Here comes George. Nice move there by the freshman from Toronto.
He is going to be a really good point guard in this league. He's got all the skill, he's got speed. He's a pretty good decision maker at that high rate of speed. He's becoming a more of a threat offensively.
Deontay Green misfires. And Miles Kelly get going. He takes it strong to the 10, and he's got 7.
Back-to-back layups by Georgia Tech.
It's something Damon Stoudemire preached against Florida State. Get down floor, beat them before they can set up the defense.
Be careful about that spin move in the middle third.
Green turns it over. 6'11" Miller guarding George. Dongo was setting the screen. Miller able to draw the foul. Miller called for the foul on George, his third.
You got to tilt the floor. You got to get downhill. You got to attack that full court pressure. And they've done that here in the second half. Back-to-back hoops. Georgia Tech trying to make a run.
Tannenbaum, weekdays from Mark's Charlotte studio basement, comes your way at 4 Eastern. College football, conference play, college basketball. You got the spring sports starting up soon. Men's and women's lacrosse, college baseball, college softball. It's all around the corner as we wrap up the college football season here next week.
Georgia Tech does have 3 baskets here to start the second half, and all of them have been at the rim.
Here's Primo Spears.
They've done a really nice job closing out on Darin Green tonight, the shooter for Florida State, not giving him a lot of good looks. He's made the most threes. He's one of the best three-point shooters in not just the ACC, in the nation.
Foul is on Debo Coleman, his first. Coleman, a junior, started 31 games last year. He's come off the bench in all 13 games this season. Watkins hits from the outside. His first points came in at 13 a game, the high-scoring man for Florida State. Coleman, elbow grease.
Yeah, you get numbers on the backside. You beat that first wave of pressure. You've got to score. And there's a warning issued to Georgia Tech not to touch the ball through the net. Little foot fake, create some separation to get into the rhythm of your jumper.
Spears over Coleman, it's good. And right now, Georgia Tech offensively, they've got 2 ball handlers in the game, Sturdivant and Nathan George.
Look how far Florida State's pushing Georgia Tech away from the bucket. They can't even make an entry pass yet. We're already at 10 on the shot.
Late offense, Sturdivant inside, Dongo to turn around.
There's that nice short roll, getting to the space, making a play over that left shoulder.
Lob hit the backboard. 6 points, 8 boards for Dongo. George through the contact gets 2 free throws.
Primo dribbles into a switch right here. Gets a little separation, uses that last bounce to power himself into the elevation of his jump shot, and then a nice finish by Dongo, who's been quiet tonight for Georgia Tech.
Media timeout, 13:44 to go. Second half, Florida State up by a baker's dozen. My broadcast partner, Debbie Antonelli, made it a point to meet with Darin Green's family. In particular, you wanted to meet sister Daylin, and you've got a very good reason.
Well, Daylin is the 13-year-old sister of Darin, and she has Down syndrome, and people that know our story know that I have my son Frankie who has Down syndrome, and prior to getting here, I received a handwritten note from Darin through the great Chuck Walsh, obviously of Florida State, saying he was looking forward to meeting me and wanted me to meet his sister, and we have talked about his sister many times. Darin is an inspiration to Dalen, and Dalen is an inspiration to Darin. Darin says he talks to her before every game. She told him tonight to have fun and make some threes. And getting a chance to meet Darin Sr. and Nina and Darin's other sister, Dayana. What a great family. And one day, Dalen is going to be able to go to the Clemson Life program, because Clemson offers a program for students that have intellectual disability. It's an incredible post-secondary experience. And my son Frankie graduated from Clemson and is living at Clemson independently with support and having great success with his couple of jobs. So kudos to Clemson Life for sharing the good word, and I want to thank Darin for making it a point that I got a chance to meet Dalen. She's awesome.
I'm so glad you did, and I've had the chance to meet your son Frankie on a couple of occasions. What a terrific young man. To see you beam with pride telling his story. And even earlier today, we're talking at shoot around, and you're talking about Frankie going to work and making sure he's got his hat. And he hung up the phone on you because he didn't want to hear about the hat.
It was a little chilly in Clemson this morning. I said, "Are you wearing your winter hat?" And it was like, click. But that's the, the ACC has some really good stories around it. Amari Robinson's a player at Clemson. She has a sister with Down syndrome. And then, of course, there's, Virginia Tech's Elizabeth Kitley's great sister, Raven. There's a wonderful story about Raven, who is living with autism. So there's some really inspiring stories around the league.
No doubt. Watkins from the outside hits the three. Florida State has made its last 5 shots. The lead is 14.
They just make everything challenging, Florida State. High hands on the catch. And they've done this pretty much without fouling. I mean, that's a foul 90 feet away from the bucket, but for the most part, Leonard Hamilton's team's been locked in on this end of the floor, making it really challenging for Georgia Tech to get any rhythm going offensively.
And when you can go 11 deep, foul trouble isn't the concern it is for teams that only go 6 or 7 deep. Miles Kelly today, 3 of 7. He's got 7 points. Watkins with 3 fouls, guarding him closely. Kelly trying to go over a double team, batted around, and Jamir Watkins has it. Three-second violation. They get Cam Corrin. Watkins out to meet Sturdivant. Shot clock into single digits. Kelly driving on Green, contested runner. Georgia Tech looked like it had the offensive rebound, and it goes out of bounds on Claude. Florida State ball. It's been the bench today for the Seminoles. 31 points off the pine. 11 different Seminoles have made a basket.
Florida State maintaining that double-digit lead here in the second half. They move the ball. They're getting into space. They're knocking down triples. They've got 6 threes in this game by 5 different players. And they've moved the ball well. 9 assists on 20 made baskets, which we talked about in the first half. Anish is an important number for Florida State on the offensive end.
And Georgia Tech, since making its first 3, has not only missed 14 straight, they have not even attempted one in the second half. Jackson, that's going to be a goaltend. And a career-high 11 points now for Chandler Jackson. And now Florida State will make you work. And this is what they can do to shrink the game in a lot of ways. By the time you get into your offense, now the shot clock's already down to 15 at times.
I think we're seeing a little possession of zone here out of Florida State. They did work on it, and ironically, you go zone, and what does Miles Kelly do? Bust a triple.
First three of the second half, first three after 14 misses for Georgia Tech.
Coach Ham digging into his bag in the second half.
Baba Miller's answer not there. Well, when we saw them practice the zone during shoot-around, the green team, now the walk-ons, they knocked down a few threes too.
They only lasted one possession of that.
And Coleman knocks down a three, and I don't think you're going to see this zone much longer. Florida State is led by as many as 17. Spears turns it over. Kelly hits the turbo button, and it's an 8-point game.
3 consecutive scores and poor decision-making on Florida State's end.
Baba Miller, it rims out. Corrin's there for the follow. Florida State fans might be having some deja vu in the loss to Georgia in the ACC-SEC Challenge. Florida State blew a 17-point halftime lead. Against North Carolina, they blew a 14-point halftime lead. 14-point second-half lead. Really, those were second-half leads. Kelly misfires. Battle for the board. Knocked out of bounds. Last touch, Claude.
Florida State's got to come down here, and they can't have an empty possession for momentum reasons. They got to move the ball side to side so then they can get back into their full court pressure.
Jackson out of control, turns it over.
You don't have to make the play yourself every time down the floor. You can get others involved. The one thing that Florida State doesn't have this year, which MJ Walker and other point guards have done, is get a piece of the paint and kick. Right now, when they drive to the paint, they're driving to score. They're not looking to set anyone else up.
Kelly gets past Watkins, hangs in the air. The tip by Dongo, no. And Watkins will be fouled, but they'll get Sturdivant.
It's actually not a bad foul. Just 14 fouls. You want to go against your set defense. One of the things Coach Stoudemire told us is, you know, we don't want live ball turnovers against these guys. We want to make them play against our set D.
Miller posting up, swivels in for two.
See, when they score, the difference about their pressure, Anish, is they can get a guy on the ball, you know, and that really helps them set their defense and allows them to, you know, make it difficult to get the ball in bounds, even more challenging.
Sturdivant down the lane. And he's able to draw the foul. 2 shots coming.
And as much as the Florida State defense is a high risk, high reward, you only gamble if you know you're going to get it, right? You have to have a little more discipline there. You want to stay up the line and intense, but a little discipline will keep you from forcing rotation on the backside.
Especially when you've got a double-digit lead. Sturdivant is the lone Georgia Tech player left from that 2021 ACC championship team. Started almost 50 games the last 2 seasons, and he gives Damon Stoudemire a valuable, experienced piece off the bench.
After going 2 for 4 from the free throw line in the first half now, Georgia Tech has done a much better job, 6 for 8. So they are chipping away.
Corin through the contact. It comes to Coleman, who secures. George up ahead. Dongo into the corner. Reeves. Good ball movement. George for 3. Front rim. Rebound to Cam Corin.
Yeah, I think Debo Coleman should have probably ball faked that and shot it himself. He's a better three-point shooter.
Watkins. A foul on Dongo and a chance at a three-point play.
Points, Florida State lead. After not scoring in the first half, Watkins coming alive here in the second for Florida State.
You'll never guess what we're doing.
What's changed offensively for Georgia Tech in the second half?
Well, I think they've played downhill a lot better. They've been able to get in the paint. They've been aggressive at attacking the rim. They're attacking the pressure. They've made a couple of threes here lately that have given them some momentum. But I also think they're recognizing the mismatches that Florida State with their switching man-to-man and doing a better job of getting the right people, taking shots.
Jamir Watkins at the free throw line for Florida State. All 9 of his points have come here in the second half. Former VCU Ram, who helped his old team to the NCAA tournament last year.
You got to be strong with the ball right here for Georgia Tech, and you got to cut hard to get open.
Miller picking up George. Now Dongo on the logo. Puts it on the floor. Blocked out of bounds. We'll get a foul on Corin.
This is the aggressiveness I'm talking about, recognizing the mismatch. Dongo's been kind of quiet for his numbers tonight. But this is a great recognition by the freshman and a hard take off the bounce.
He has emerged as one of the top freshmen in the ACC. Tonight, like you said, it's been a relatively quiet night for him, and he's still got a good chance to get another double-double, right. 8 points, 8 rebounds right now.
Against a taller front line, which is something he's going to see every night in the ACC.
Nine points for Bai Dongo, who's coming off back-to-back 20-point games. The Seminole lead is a dozen. Watkins for 3. Rebound batted in the air. Dongo is there, his 9th board. And here comes Sturdivant. Strong to the 10, puts it up, and gets rewarded with 2 shots.
Another trip to the free throw line for Georgia Tech. Exactly what you want. Stop the clock, get to the line. Now you got to make them.
Darin Green picks up his 2nd foul. Georgia Tech, 9 of 14 at the stripe as a team. Sturdivant came into the game 21 out of 24 on the season. Tomorrow night at 10 Eastern, after our women's basketball doubleheader, the Nothing But Net crew will break down the night in the ACC, highlights and analysis of every women's game, and a look ahead to some of the best matchups this weekend, including a pretty big one between Virginia Tech and NC State.
Well, tomorrow night, Florida State on the road at NC State. NC State number 3 in the country, and Muffet, Kelsey, Ivory, and Kelly will break it all down tomorrow night.
Miller gets the entry pass and puts it in for 2. He's got 6. Full court pressure. What does this do to a team over the course of a game?
It's a physically and mentally and emotionally draining knowing you got to manage under duress for 94 feet, that's for sure. Because it's a relentless effort. It doesn't back off based on substitution. You got to stick with it.
George, no good on the 3. Yellow Jackets 3 of 19 from downtown. Watkins lost it.
That's a great hustle play by George.
Reeves drives, beats Corin, and the foul.
The first half, Florida State's pressure was relentless without fouling. The second half, Georgia Tech has been much more aggressive in their mindset. They are looking to get to the paint. They're forcing the issue on the back row of the defense in switches. They've done a much better job here attacking.
Kowacie Reeves cannot complete the 3-point play. Former top 100 recruit who spent 2 seasons at Florida. Lead is 11. Watkins calls for the screen, doesn't get it. Shot clock down to 5. Worley underneath.
How?
Puts in the teardrop.
How did that go in? Wow. He was almost parallel with the ground.
Kelly over Corin. 14 for Miles Kelly to lead all scorers.
He has not stopped working without the ball. I've been impressed with Miles Kelly tonight.
Oh, Baba Miller, little show and tell.
Baba Miller takes his game to the block. That's back-to-back buckets for him inside.
A glimpse of the tantalizing potential in his 6'11" frame. Reeves knocks down the 3. Yellow Jackets not going away.
If they can get it to a 2-possession game, then you put some serious game pressure on Florida State, and Darin Green Jr. responds.
Reeves hits the 3.
You've got to locate Kowacie Reeves, back-to-back triples. I thought fatigue played a little bit of a factor in the last 2 transitional defensive efforts by Florida State. Late on the closeout, late in transition, find that man, he's hot.
Kowacie Reeves, the Florida transfer. Couple of 3s to bring Georgia Tech within 9. Statistically, he's been this team's best 3-point shooter this season.
Well, you have to find him right now in the open floor. I mean, he started the game attacking. He had a couple of buckets attacking the baseline. He's been good off the bounce. He's showing more than just being a 3-point threat, but after going 1 for 14 in the first half from 3, Georgia Tech is 4 for their last 7.
Shooting 65% overall in the second half. Primo Spears back in there for Florida State.
After shooting 28% in the first half.
Darin Green way off. Kelly down the lane, and 2 shots coming. Georgia Tech in attack mode, going to the basket, and down underneath the basket near the photographer's well is Miles Kelly.
he went hard into the stands.
You got to remember, this is a team that is already without Lance Terry, who was the #2 scorer a season ago, and Terry and Kelly seem to be the top 2 scoring options. Lance got hurt. Lance Terry did. Decided to redshirt, preserve the year of eligibility.
I don't know if they have to sub him out because Damon Stoudemire came on the floor. Someone else shoots the free throws.
Kelly looks to be okay. A little grimace in the huddle.
So I believe what happens here is because Damon Stoudemire came on the court, he does have to be subbed out. And then Florida State picks from the remaining 4 on the floor who would shoot the free throws.
So Kelly heading back to the bench. And they're going to say Gapari, who's only 6 of 11 entering play today, and a career 57% free throw shooter.
Ready to rebound right here if you're Florida State. Georgia Tech is looking to tap it back.
Missed them both. And they might get over the back on Dongo. They do. Miles Kelly will come back in as Nathan George exits. A little bit of a limp. Haney sets the high screen. Spears, tough shot, and he hits.
Wow, that's a big basket. Primo in prime time.
He's not afraid, that's for sure. Reeves, catch and release.
Yeah, but then they make a mistake on the backside of pressure. That's one of the reasons why Leonard Hamilton doesn't like to trap. He likes to switch. He doesn't want to put 2 on the ball.
And we get a foul. It is away from the ball on Miles Kelly.
Primo is not shy about calling his own number. He gets a wide open look and he buries it, and then 2 on the ball at the front of the pressure allows Reeves to get backside for his 3rd triple in transition here in the last couple of minutes.
16 points to lead all scorers for Kowacie Reeves. Chandler Jackson, career high 11 points tonight, make it 12. Both teams are in the bonus. Next foul against Florida State puts Georgia Tech in the double bonus.
Send the sub in so you can set your D. See, after made free throws, Florida State's been up on the ball. Here you see they back up a little bit because of that backside 3-point shooting.
George picked up by Gainey on the switch, and we get a foul. It's going to be 4 on Watkins.
That is Dongo doing a great job of rolling hard, keeping the seal, burying Watkins in the rim.
And that's knowing you've got the mismatch.
That's right.
Saturday on ACC Network, it's a triple header. Virginia will take on NC State. Florida State plays host to Virginia Tech, and then finally number 14 Duke and Notre Dame square off in South Bend. Blue Devils had a win against Syracuse last night. 1 out of 2 for Dongo here. It's a 9-point game. Less than 3 minutes to play. Seminoles get it inbounds.
Here comes full court pressure by Tech.
Spears drives, dishes. Watkins stepped out of bounds.
That's the second time Florida State, and running the floor hard and wide, has stepped out of bounds before the catch. This is the game pressure I was talking about. You can't have slippage here right now if you're Florida State. You got to stay locked in. Georgia Tech, you keep attacking, keep getting to the free throw line.
Georgia Tech 5 of 8 from 3 in the second half. Reeves has had the hot hand. Green pokes it away. It'll stay with the rambling wreck. The 6'11" Baba Miller will guard the inbounder.
This is a really tough spot. You got to cut hard.
Inside to Dongo, almost lost it. Gainey pokes it away. Dongo, the 3, air ball.
I would consider fouling Baba Miller the second he touches the ball.
A sub 50% free throw shooter for his career. Spears, a very good free throw shooter. He'll bleed some clock. Shot clock at 4. At 3, Green hits the 3.
How about Primo Spears getting it up right in the shooting pocket? A perfect pass.
Reeves dips underneath, gets his own miss, puts it in for 2. He's got 18. And Debbie, that last play may have represented a real growth moment for Primo Spears in this offense. Shot clock winding down. Instead of taking it, he makes the pass, and Darin Green splashes it in.
You're telling me one man did this?
10-point lead for Florida State. Anish Shroff, Debbie Antonelli. Shot clock running down. Primo Spears makes the pass.
All night he has been downhill, late clock, and you see a little pinch off the corner to give Darin Green enough room, and there's his family celebrating, just like Dalen asked. Have fun and make some threes, and boy, did he make a big one right here with 1:40 to play.
When you watch Florida State, it's easy to see if they can figure out sharing the basketball. There's probably no bigger recipient of that than Darin Green, who is one of the best sharpshooters in the country, as Georgia Tech commits the foul.
He's a fantastic catch and shoot. He's also very good at creating separation. One of the top 3-point shooters in the nation. He's made, coming into the game, his career is over 330. Now he's got 333, 334 threes for his career. That's impressive. 7th in the nation. Joe Girard, he and Joe Girard got a little battle going at Clemson. We've got to keep an eye on that.
Watkins gets the front end of the 1-and-1.
Now, how long do you leave Baba Miller in the game knowing that Georgia Tech's going to want to foul?
You probably want to leave him in for defense, don't you?
I think for a defensive possession, yes, but I think he might be coming out. Nope, he's going to leave him in and take Corin out. You need him to protect the rim.
It's a 12-point lead. Reeves has had the hot hand. He's got 18. Not this time. Forced that one, and Dongo knocked it away out of bounds. Last couple of threes there by Georgia Tech. Dongo, I think, had more time on that previous possession on the shot clock than he thought. Reeves hoisted it up. Full court pressure by Georgia Tech. They got Jackson, they got Spears, and Watkins all can handle. And Florida State breaks the press.
Double dribble with 4 guards on the floor.
It's a couple of turnovers here late for Watkins. He stepped out of bounds a few moments prior. 12-point game. Georgia Tech running out of time. Sturdivant. And Kelly draws the foul. 2 shots for him. Following our game here on ACCN, we've got NC State and Notre Dame. Wes Durham and Dan Bonner will have the call. Irish 51% from the field and that win against Virginia.
NC State coming off of a couple of non-conference wins.
We got Marcus Burton, who's the reigning ACC Rookie of the Week for Notre Dame, as Reeves commits the foul. Spears, a terrific free throw shooter, with a 1-and-1. Still early in conference play, assuming Florida State holds on here. What do you take away from tonight?
Well, I think Coach Hamilton is figuring out some of those rotations he was working through, and I think it's so important that they have multiple ways that they can attack you on both ends of the floor. For Georgia Tech, I think it's just a matter of moving the ball, playing in space like Damon Stoudemire wants. And I mean, Miles Kelly coming back to life offensively, right? They needed him to be able to shoot the ball well.
Florida State having trouble getting it in. They finally do. It's kicked. 18 points for Kelly, who had been shooting below 35% on the season entering play. This is a guy who thought about going pro after last year.
Well, I'll tell you, the thing that I was most impressed with Miles Kelly was his work off the ball, his acceleration to space, his movement to get open. I thought that was impressive and definitely something for him to build on.
Florida State less than a minute from victory in an ACC game after losing at home to Lipscomb over the weekend. The Seminoles conclude their 7-game homestand with Virginia Tech and then Wake Forest. I'll tell you what, Debbie, Wake Forest is a team, they look like a Sweet 16 team right now.
I'm telling you, I'm high on Wake Forest. You know, when you can add Efton Reed to give you 3 levels of defense, you got good ball pressure, you have the ability to rotate, but when you have rim protection, that gives you that 3rd level. It changes your scheming defensively in terms of your ball screen coverage. It opens up the floor because he runs. He's 7'1", he runs, he screens, he's wide, he rebounds. It gets you in transition. There's a lot of pieces that come together, and Steve Forbes certainly knows how to put a scoring backcourt together.
Now, Reed has raised the ceiling of the entire season, the Gonzaga transfer. Jackson fouled by Sturdivant, and he's got 2 shots coming.
Just to put a button on Wake Forest, Hunter Salas and Boopy Miller are the 2 guards in the backcourt. They're the only team in the ACC with 2 in the top 10 in scoring. They're combining for over 35 points. They really play well in transition in space, and they can break off the offense anytime.
And then you got a Cam Hildreth, who's one of those ultimate glue guys that winning teams have.
He's a winning player. He's going to make a winning play. Parker Fredrickson comes off the bench and can shoot it. I mean, there's a lot of pieces. Zach Keller has gotten much better inside.
How about what Chandler Jackson has given Florida State off the bench tonight?
Yeah,
13
solid.
points.
Really solid. I mean, I thought he made some really good decisions. I thought his pressure defensively was an issue. He's got great quickness.
Defense for offense substitution as Miller comes in for Jackson. A little more size on the back end. And Florida State, even with the lead, even in the final minutes, staying with the press. It's who they are, it's what they do. Sturdivant against Worley, 76-69.
I mean, they're getting a turnover here. They get a couple of missed free throws. You got a chance to trap right here. Timeout.
And a timeout called.
You don't want to catch it in that corner.
Final timeout for Florida State. Both teams in the double bonus. Seminoles have led pretty much most of the way. Florida State led by as many as 17 in the second half. They led by 13 at halftime. Georgia Tech really struggled. Horrendous first half shooting the basketball. They've been terrific in the field in the second half. 17 of 28 in the second half. 6 of 11 from 3 in the second half after going 1 for 14 from 3 in the first 20 minutes.
I mean, this is not over.
Georgia Tech home for Boston College this weekend, and then Notre Dame for a couple of big road tests at Duke and Clemson. Spears up ahead to Worley, and they foul him. Career 67% free throw shooter.
Yep, this gets interesting, right? So now you got to be prepared to block out. Georgia Tech has to secure the rebound and advance the ball quickly.
The 7-point lead. This is as close as Georgia Tech has been in the second half. Worley's a guy of late. He's had to scrap for his minutes, only played 11 minutes. A season low last time out. You've got other guards on this team who are showing what they can do. Jackson, we know about Primo Spears. Makes the 2 big free throws.
You got to know he has that little hitch in his free throw so you don't jump with a lane violation.
Miles Kelly accelerates. Lost it and gives it up.
That's a good defensive effort by Darin Green. You got a deflection.
Baseball pass to Worley. Makes the catch and the exclamation. Reeves off target. And that should do it. They will foul Spears.
thought the Darin Green 3 was going to be the one that created the final separation. But that pass over the top, you can't get beat long. This is a great pass right here. Over the shoulder. How about Worley making a couple of free throws and finishing the game?
And the baseball pass thrown by Jackson, yet another winning play by the sophomore from Memphis. He's played the best game of his young career tonight. 14 points, a career high. Had a big steal on the baseline. A couple of assists. Kelly is fouled on the shot.
I mean, Coach Hamilton can't even look. Good film tomorrow. It'll look good in film.
Wes Durham and Dan Bonner standing by for NC State and Notre Dame. That's next here on ACCN. Isn't it nice to have conference hoops back in earnest?
Yeah, it's great. It's
I know
awesome.
we have those one-offs in November, December. I don't count that.
Good to be with you too, Anish.
Likewise. Watkins dribbles out the clock. And Florida State gets its first ACC win of the season. They led pretty much wire to wire in this one. They shrug off an embarrassing loss to Lipscomb over the weekend and get a double-digit win.